How we doing? Thanks very much for joining the live stream, guys. It's been a while since I did a Sunday live stream, so really looking forward to hearing what you guys think. It's great to have a few people in already. I hope everyone's keeping well. I see there was a comment straight away there by DB Stupid. I'm hoping there might be a couple of people that might want to join me in the live chat as well. So let me know if you want to come up here and say a few words. Right. Obviously, the heading. So obviously, $2,000 gold and a $20 silver. Obviously, based on the current circumstances, the way the economies are going, I just want to get your input, see what your thoughts are, how things are going. I'll just do some shout outs here. We got DB Stupid. He put a comment in here. It says, for the average citizen, we are already there. Premiums on physical are there. If you wanted to convert $100 into metals, you really can't do it for less than $20 to $2,000 per ounce. So we're saying, hypothetically speaking, yes, we are there at those rates based on premiums. Silver Stanger, man, how you doing? He says, what is going on, Silver Limey 79? How are you doing? I hope you're keeping well there. A special thank you to you guys. I hope you enjoyed the chat. We'll see how things go. We've got 4 people in already, so hopefully we can get a few more people in. DB Stupid says, good morning, 8 a.m. here. Silver Stanger says morning as well. Silver Stanger says 11 a.m. here. Yeah, I just put Irish Standard Time and Eastern Standard Time as well. Give yourself an idea of what time the live stream is going to commence. Just give me a thumbs up to make sure you can hear me just fine. Blended Whiskey says, hey, DB. Blended Whiskey, thanks very much for joining me. Awesome. Great to have you here. Off topic, is this meat shortage thing strictly a US story? Wow, that sounds interesting. Meat shortage? Not bad here. How about you, Silver Stanger? We've also got Graham Stacker. Says, I finally made Silver Limey 79's live stream. Hey, Limey and everyone. Graham Stacker, good to see you, buddy. It's been a while since I've done a Sunday live stream, so I thought it'd be a good idea to kick things off and hopefully make this a regular thing for Sundays. Let me just organize this quickly, and we'll probably do a live stream for about an hour. We'll see how it goes. If things progress well, then we'll just keep it going. Let's have a look. There we go. A couple of moderators there. Silver Stanger. DB Stupid says, is anyone buying physical right now? Well, I am definitely not one of those people, DB Stupid. I was just saying in my last video, in case you guys missed it, I'll put a little eye in the corner of the screen, and it's the bullion to proof silver ratio. If you haven't seen it, check that video out to give you some insight for those looking at proof, particularly with the way premiums are at the moment, because the premiums haven't shown up in the proof market. So when you're looking at proof coins, they're relatively unchanged. However, bullion coins have gone up. So it makes for interesting thinking. Blended Whiskey, meat shortage in the US is crazy. Wow. Like Silver Stanger says, I have 2 10-ounce silver bars on their way. Wow. The man. That's awesome, man. I'm on hold with physical metals. Stanger, you have a lot of hogs on the property. Blended Whiskey, hog meat is free and you no longer need a hunting license to hunt them. Wow. Silver Stanger says every once in a while they have a route they run. That's why whenever they are around, I set the trap for them. This summer, I will be stocking up on halibut and salmon. Interesting conversation of talking about meat. Silver Stanger says, nice, DB. And great seeing you, Silver Limey. It's great to see you as well. We got up to 9 people in. That's great. Right, let's get things going. We got about 9 people in. Hopefully, we'll have a few more in. Current price of gold is $1,700 an ounce, and that was on Friday's close. Obviously, the trading will begin this evening, my time. Obviously, tomorrow morning, or later this evening for you guys as well. My thoughts in relation to it, I would have expected the price of gold to really be higher than where it is, based on what's happening in the economy, the stimulus packages, which we'll go over as well, and of course the COVID-19. It's all had an issue on the market. Now, one thing, was it March 9th or something like that, where we had a big sell-off pretty much across the market, whether that was digital currencies, whether that was equities, commodities, everything got sold pretty quickly. So in times that we see ourselves in, you would have expected precious metals to go up, and they didn't. Pretty much everybody wanted cash, which I find very interesting considering. Stacks and Stuff, man, how you doing? Stacks and Stuff. Wow, it has been a while. Hope you are keeping well there. Blended Whiskey says, I come here for the halibut. Get it? DV Stupid says, meat shortages is a metaphor for the physical market in general. Metals are meat. Only metals is global by default. Meat, I think, is the US phenomenon. Wow, that's an interesting way to put it. I had no idea. Meat shortage is a metaphor for physical market. Wow, that is something I shall never forget. Thank you, DB. You've enlightened me. Hello, Stacks and Stuff. We got DB Stupid says, my brain will always value fish at $1 a pound. Graham Stacker. So tell me, what do you guys think? Based on, we haven't been able to get higher than, if we have a look at this chart here, we're currently, I didn't do the full chart, was about 17, it's wick, if you include the wick, I think it was about 1740. We haven't been able to get higher than that. Now, why is that? Based on current events, I would have expected us to be at least at 1800, 1900 fairly quickly, considering, and we haven't seen it. What are your thoughts on that? So let me know, please, in the chat. Let me know if anyone wants to come on and have a chat. I know we've got a couple of regulars there, which is great. We'll also take a look at the silver chart. The difference, if you look at the sell-off on, excuse me, on March, what was it, March 9th or something like that? That's where we had that big sell-off there. There we go. March 9th there. We've seen gold now recover those losses and head up higher. Silver, on the other hand, hasn't done that, which means that it's still languishing. If we have a look here, let's do silver. There we go. Now, there is March 9th, and we still haven't recovered the initial March 9th losses, which is a bit concerning, because if there's been this amount of sell-off for silver, then how come, obviously, it hasn't rebounded based on the general perception of the market? And it's been struggling. It really has. If we go here, the last time it was at this price here was 15th of July last year. However, we should have rebounded. Pretty much the curve in regards to the gold and silver has been more towards gold than actual silver. Let's have a look. I think we will see silver at 20 before gold to 2000, but the chart will look like a Mag 8 earthquake on the way to 20. Yeah, I just think, look, I mean, everyone posts their ideas. I'm not saying YouTubers, but generally, if you look at Kiko News as well, they'll say, oh, yeah, gold going to 10,000. Gold's biggest challenge at the moment is to get over its previous high before we can start thinking of the longer term projections. So, we look at $10,000 gold, $100 gold. For me, that stuff is just too far away. And I want to be as realistic as possible for you guys. I just think that a $2,000 gold is more achievable than saying gold's going to be at 10,000. I think you can all agree. You can all agree with me. Although I'm sure that you'll probably agree that the fundamentals are there for it to get to 10,000, but we're still a very long way away. Silver Stanger, he says, they keep pumping up the stock market with fake money that prevents metals from rising. Well, you'd think if they were pumping that money into stimulus packages for the economy, then technically you should put that money into gold. Do you think that the interest in assets like gold and silver are waning, and that other assets are going to overtake it for their more connected. I wouldn't say electronically, but do you think that if I look at previous, where we've seen higher highs for metals, there just doesn't seem to be that same sort of interest as there was 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. Do you guys think that could be concerning going forward? So look, DB Stupid says, DB Stupid, gold will just climb without the puke drops. So DB Stupid's just saying that it's just gold is just going to keep going up. Regardless of what happens out there. So let's put that gold chart back up, and then we'll go into. Okay, so before we put the gold chart on, this is Kitco News. It says gold is going to $2,000 in 12 months. Like, why not in 2-3 months? Why only next year? VanEck's Joe Foster. Now, I won't go into too much detail. This is fairly new. It was published on May 5th. It's about 5 days ago. Talking about fund managers and their expectations in regards to the way things are. Excuse me. He says, there's a lot of major producers are financially in good shape. He noted that the current price is around $1,700 an ounce. Gold producers are seeing massive margins. Free cash flow of around $400 to $500 an ounce. So obviously that's the nice margin that these guys are making. Let's have a look. The company said that it's produced 1.5 million attributable ounces of gold between January and March. We're going into a recession. We don't know how deep it will be or how long it will be. Debt is increasing. Now, obviously, I think pretty much since last year, I've tried to curtail all my debt from, mainly because there's exposure and there's obviously a risk of major exposure. So for me, I'm just trying to decrease all of that. The only things I have really debt-wise are the car loan, which I'm hoping to pay off soon. For me, I just want to try and clear as much debt as possible. It'll free up a lot of monthly income as well if you're not paying that money towards your car or whatever debt you guys have. I know credit cards, I'm tired of that stuff now. I think I might have mentioned this on previous live streams. I'm clearing all of that stuff. I don't have a credit card anymore, literally. It's just ways to curtail this problem. And if it's increasing, it is going to be a major problem. Governments are having massive increases in debt to raise funds to get through this crisis. So there's an awful lot of uncertainty in the market going forward. Okay, there's a lot of uncertainty in the market going forward. Gold doesn't pay any interest, but will pay interest at 0 or even negative. In Europe and Japan, gold is now competitive with interest bearing, and that's another thing which is which I've overlooked, is that negative rates. Again, there's a few places offering negative rates, not much, but again, it doesn't seem to add that ammunition to gold. Like, let's go and have a look at the chat here and see where we're going with this. Right, Blended Whiskey says one factor could be it costs less to pull metals out of the ground due to low fuel costs. Well, clearly they're saying they're based on gold being at $1,700 an ounce. There's a nice juicy margin for them, say $500-600 thereabouts per ounce. DB Stupid says the average person isn't going to accumulate any gold going forward. It's already out of reach in the physical realm. In the paper realm, will a common person or will common people buy gold? Okay, so he's saying this from a physical perspective, it's not as accessible anymore. However, the paper, obviously, you can go for as much paper as you like. So paper being a lot more accessible than physical. Scrapping, holding, tinkering, fun. Good to see you. Thank you very much for joining us here. Buy vintage comics, less volatile, and they're not making more. And they're not making more like that. Well, I'd probably say it's not something I've looked at. I used to have a Star Wars card collection when they started making the Star Wars customized card game, which I started when I was in high school, and I kept them ever since. And even when I'd finished school, I was still buying them because I really thought long-term wise, particularly the ultra rare cards were the ones that were gonna return the most money. And at that stage, they'd gone out of print as well. I don't know, the company lost the license for these cards, and they gradually increased in value until I decided, when I got into precious metals here a couple of years back again, I sold the lot and I took that money and put it into precious metals instead. Yeah, so there's all kinds of things there. I mean, Scrapping, Hoarding, Tinkering Fun saying he obviously buys vintage comics. There's good money to be made in that. Silver Stanger says, very true, blended whiskey, but are the mines back open yet? Do you guys think that there is a shortage at the moment? Look, I know obviously we know from certain sources that they're saying is you can't buy any. But do you really think there is a shortage? Because if you think about it, Jenny, when something is in demand and there's low volume of something, the price spikes naturally. But we still haven't seen that. So if this is a supply issue, then why hasn't the price gone up higher than it is? I know currently, if you look at premiums currently for silver or gold, the premiums have gone up astronomically. You say? And even if you look at other assets, even for platinum, the premiums on them alone are like crazy. What's this now? Sorry, Scrapping, Hoarding, Tinkering Fun. Are they making more comic book fans? However, the weakest of global currencies will drive prices up. Stacks and Stuff says, stacking, Hoarding, Tinkering Fun. Yo. There we go. Scrapping, Hoarding, Tinkering Fun says, what's up, Stacks? Deep Stupid more than ever. Note that everyone is locked in. I still have my comic from when I was a kid, 1977, 84 era. Wow, that sounds great. I presume some of those have gone up in value nicely, DB Stupid? DB, you may be sitting on a few ounces of gold there, my friend. Yeah, that's what I thought with my Star Wars cards. Silver Wolverine's joined us, everybody. Thank you very much, Silver Wolverine. Great to see you. Like 12. Awesome. Silver Stanger says, I have my precious metals dealer. They can still get whatever I want. That's interesting. So obviously he can still, Silver Stanger saying that his LCS there, does anyone have the same issue? Is there either that their LCS cannot get metal, or obviously it's not an issue? Please let me know in the chat. Silver Stanger. Obviously saying hello there. DB says, stacking, hoarding, tinkering, fun. I looked through the lot. My taste wasn't in line with the collectors. I got a few titles, but nothing rare collectible. New Mutants was my best series for cash. Silver Wolverine saying hello to Silver Stanger. DB as well, a couple of ounces of silver then. Save on space. I'm a stacker, by the way. I'm here to dissuade. Not a silver shortage, but a bullion or coin supply shortage. Yes, due to mines and mint shutting down, mostly because of mint shutting down. Okay, there you go. So Wolverine says, yeah, pretty much a supply issue there. Bullion wise, I know if I look at my bullion supplies this side, they're still looking for serious money for an ounce of silver. I think the cheapest I've seen it is 21 euros. That's probably around $23. We're going to take a look. Let's have a look here. Just give me 1 minute here. I'll bring this up. let's have a look here. Sorry, it's going to bring something up here. But we're just talking about premiums there. This was published the 27th of April, so it was a couple of weeks back. Gold buyers are forking over lofty $135 premiums for US coins. So the retail demand jumps as people turn to gold as a store of value. Premiums seen staying high until virus hit world recovers. I know someone had made the statement there, I think on one of the comments, that stated that they'll probably see the premiums remain as high as they are. It says consumer who wanted to buy gold coins typically have to pay more than per ounce price quoted on financial markets. That premium has jumped to $135, at more than tripling from 2 months ago. There has never been a time for American gold eagles at this premium level, referring to a popular US bullion coin. The surge is being exacerbated by the coronavirus-related lockdowns, which have led to a squeeze in the supply of coins and bars available for shipments around the globe. At the same time, bullion status as a haven is luring investors rattled by world markets and economic turmoil. I'd say some, you guys might agree with this, I'd say it's luring some investors, because if it's luring investors, then I would have expected to see us at 1900. A relatively short period of time. I just don't see it. There's still a lot of buying and selling going on there, like the recent dip that we had there. Obviously, it says until the world catches up, the imbalance gets back to normal. The balance of supply and demand, the premiums will stay high. So you either got to wait it out, like me, or check out my latest video where I said why not consider looking at proof coins. I mean, I just sold a coin there on eBay yesterday. Fantastic, and I'm absolutely over the moon with it, because it's a coin I've had for a while now, and it's a PF70. It was a half sovereign, 2007, and I got a great price for it, and I'm going to try and get another one to replace it with. And I'll probably do the same thing again and send it in for grading, and hopefully do that way. So there is money to be made there. But yeah, just check out that video if you haven't seen it already. Let me know your thoughts. Until the world catches up, obviously, gold coin premiums tracked by certified gold coin exchanges are at the highest level in 6 years. Gold coin premiums tracked by a certified coin exchange are at the highest level in 6 years. Everybody, that's some amount. DB says there was a story about the Perth Mint making 7.5 tons kilo coin bars to COMEX per week. Did they keep the coin presses running during that time? I'd say you'd probably see a lot of automation coming through now. I think once people have realized that stores and that open during these times, just they can't. So you might find that a lot of these mints and that might be making it more automated to keep their doors open effectively. Lol, I have my baseball cards from when I was a kid, but they are worthless. David England, he says $2,000 gold and $50 silver. Wow, $50 silver. Wow, okay, that is. I'd love a $50 silver right now. I'll be over the moon. $2,000 gold. So David England's there. He's saying that we'll see $50 gold pretty much when gold, or necessarily it'll get to $50. We're currently at 15, so a 35 deficit sooner than you think. Do you have a time frame on that, David? That'll be interesting to know. Late as always, Nosmatics. It's good to see you. I'm picking up Constitutional as much as I can. DB Stupid says I reached my silver stacking goal in 2018. Bought a bunch of junk for 0.29 at 0.89 over spots. Merc Dimes, Walking Lib, and Benjamin Halves. Cool. One of the reasons I bought hard into silver at the time was the sentiment on YouTube was the worst I'd ever seen ever at that time. It had to be the bottom. funny enough, people who make the most money buy when no one is buying. So effectively, once everyone's sold everything, and as you guys know, once everything's been sold, it's a good time to make profit, and that's when you buy in. Buy when there's fear. When there is fear, that's when you make money. Nosmatics, how do you feel about the new Royal Mint quarter-ounce gold standard coin? Oh, I don't think I've seen it. Which, the Britannia? I presume it's probably the Britannia. But yeah, I'm on the lookout for a replacement coin now that I've sold that one. So it's going to be great. I've got a couple of watches on a couple of items, so I'm looking forward to replace it because I've sold one now. I have to get the same amount back, and I might pull some profit. I have a way. I have a way to go on my goal, but slow and steady wins the race. Absolutely, I don't disagree with you there. Right, so I'm not going into too much detail. Last year, bar and coin demand fell by 20%, the lowest level since 2009. Hurt by costlier prices have discouraged retail buying globally. According to the World Gold Council, that began to reverse in 2020, with investors snapping up coins sold by the US Mint in March at the fastest pace in over 3 years. So look at that. Month of March was the fastest pace in 3 years that people bought gold coins. Higgins, a 40-year industry veteran, operates a wholesale business that typically deals with an average of 1 million to 1.5 million ounces of gold each month. That jumped to more than 6.5 million ounces in March as premiums surged. I won't go into too much detail, but you're more than welcome to check that one out. Premiums. Right, let's see. What else do I have for you here? U.S. passes new $483 billion stimulus plan to protect families and small businesses. This was on the 24th of March. This is probably old news to a lot of you. United States on Thursday approved nearly $500 million in stimulus packages, but European lenders were divided on their own measures after the world sought to salvage economies ravaged by the COVID-19 pandemic. Too little, too late. In Europe, the worst hit continents, with that amount of unfortunate people passing away. EU leaders haggled by video conferencing over their own packages. The 27-nation bloc agreed to ask the European Commission to come up with a rescue plan by the 6th of May. New hopes raised while the disease appears to be peaking in Europe and the United States. Other nations are still in the early stages of the fight. Again, I won't be going into too much detail. Gradual easing, and so on and so on. So a substantial amount of stimulus coming in to the market. Nosmatics says bullion. Nosmatics, not Britannia. Okay. I'll have to check that out then, Nosmatics. I need a gold coin in my life, lol, but I never seem to pull the trigger. Yeah, I tell you what, once you have a bit of gold, man, I know it's smaller than, if you think about it, I know everyone tends, you get those that will think in ounces and those that think in grams. When you got gold, you have to think in grams, not ounces, because, well, if you think in ounces, it's going to cost you a lot of money indeed. DB Stupid says, scrapping hoarding tinkering fun. I stacked fiat from 2012 to 2018, waiting for the silver price to bottom. I stacked physical $half to help me resist the urge to buy silver. Once you do it, stacking hoarding tinkering fun, you will not be disappointed. And Silver Stanger's got some good stuff. Inkman78. Hello, Silverlimey79, everyone. Inkman78, how are you doing? Been a while. Thanks very much for joining us here. So with stimulus packages rolling out across all economies in the world, it's still having a very little effect on the price of precious metals. Now, I don't know if that is the calm before the storm. It basically means that we're going to see a flurry of price rises. And hopefully, look, all we got to do really is we have to get over the previous high. That is the main goal in order for us to get over that $2,000 an ounce zone. Here's an interesting one that I'll share with you now. Investors make big bets on silver, closing giant gap with gold. This was posted on May 7th, it's about 3 days ago. Investors are betting on a rally in silver after the gap between gold and the industrial metal soared to its widest level in more than 3 centuries. Did you get that, everybody? It's the widest level in more than 300 years. In March, the price of an ounce of gold was 125 times higher than the same amount of silver. If you'd obviously got notifications on my channel set, I would have kept you up to date in regards to those drops. And we had a look at the gold to silver ratio, and that's what we saw: 125 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. A record going back at least 1687. Wow. But since the gap has closed to about 113 times, the analysts say more gains for silver are possible. So it's not set in stone, but they're saying that more gains are possible, as opposed to just more gains. As economies start to recover from the shock of the coronavirus-related lockdowns and demands returns the use of the metal in electronics and solar panels. And that, everybody, is a key factor in the price of silver. Being an industrial metal, as we all know, but obviously we like its numismatic value. We like to buy silver coins. However, that is the key part of the silver price. Once demand returns for the use of metals in electronics and solar panels. So once the factories start opening up and we, get that demand in and they start gobbling up all that silver, then we'll expect to see a price increase in silver, which makes me believe that, yes, there is it's slowly going up. It could just be the retail demand at the moment is very strong for silver, so it's keeping it where it is, but it's not sufficient enough to make those higher highs. What do you think? DB Stupid says stimulus checks have doubled sales at the pot shops. I'm not kidding. Sales have doubled. Inkman78 says, yeah, it's been a while. Just been working through all the madness going on. Essential worker. Well, stay safe, Inkman78, during this time. Stimulus is going up in smoke. Let's have a look. Silver Stanger says, I was going to buy another ounce of gold with my check, but work has slowed way down, so I have to wait and see what is going to happen next. And interesting enough, when I'd, tell my wife that I'd sold that coin, and I said, well, I need to, she said, well, what are you going to do with it? So I was like, well, I'm going to get another one with it. She said, well, wouldn't that be a good idea to have that money there just in case you need it? And it did make me think initially, and I was like, well, yeah, it could be handy, but if you're say good with your money to a degree and you have some funds there, then there's technically it's extra funds that are available. So I thought, well, let me get the replacement amount of gold to replace that one anyway, and then we'll see where we go from there. But sometimes I just wanted to get a bigger coin. I thought, well, I've made this profit now. Let me just get, because that was my initial goal, was when I was going buying coins to grade and get them graded and sell them, was to take that money then and then upgrade my coins, hopefully to bigger pieces. So I'm in two minds what to do, but it's funny that you say that there, and my wife is pretty much that same way, having the cash at hand rather than having it in precious metals at the moment, because you can't spend precious metals at the shop, even though it has a face value of $1 on the ASE or €1.50 on the Philharmonics. But who is hypothetically going to go and spend $1 face value silver, which is worth 15, is going to go down to the shop? So I'd love to see someone do that. Silver lining, the entire world needs to step up to China after this is over. Stimulus has to get paid back out of China's pocket. Yeah, look, I mean, we all know what the global debt crisis of this planet is, and it's at unsustainable levels. I'm sure that all of us can agree. How do you fix that situation, though? Because, if you look at when we were on the gold standard didn't allow economies to grow as rapidly as they are now, because obviously there had to be a certain amount of cash tied to the amount of gold that you had. You couldn't print more because then it would, then inflation would kick in. So it was, at least my understanding was that by going off the gold standard, they could effectively print more money, which allowed them to grow the economy substantially. But obviously, the downside to that is the debt isn't paid off, and they just pile up. And how do you pay that amount of debt with money that has no value? Anyone want to be a sticker trader? Hit me up. That's scrapping, hoarding, tinkering, fun. So Wolverine, you're talking World War III. I'm still buying small amounts of gold. It's hard to know what's going on at the moment, but I think having gold is still good. I totally agree with you. You're current. Welcome, my friend. And yeah, I think having some amount. I mean, what nobody wants to do is put all their money into precious metals at the moment and have no spending money, because then, if you think about it, you're buying an ounce of silver, which has a massive premium on it. So by doing that, and then of course 2-3 weeks later you're going to need that money, you go, oh, I need to get that money back, and you go in, and they might give you $2 or $3 over spot, but you're already effectively, it's not worth doing. So you need to make sure that the money, at least in my opinion, very much like myself, is that this isn't the money that you need for day-to-day things, and I'm sure that's what everyone thinks here. Silver Stanger, where would you buy from? Nosmatics, world versus China. I'll take the field. It will be ugly either way. I need a bunker first, says Nosmatics. Silver Stanger says, DB, I have a friend of mine who is a PM dealer. He works from his home and give me an awesome price. Well, that's great. DB says, I finished buying out an elderly person's gold holdings and just found another older person with a pile of gold. We just need to work on the relationship. We're in interesting times. Would you say this person, just out of interest, because I'd say I'm more interested, from his investments, would you say it is above average, his gold holdings, just out of interest, DB? You don't have to give the exact amount, because I don't want to know, just in case that's the amount you plan to buy. But would you say that he has substantial holdings, average holdings, or below average holdings? This gentleman that you're interested in buying metal from. Nosmatic says, loves what word right? Love is that word right now. Gold standard. Silver Stanger, that is great. Having a relationship with a source is a huge part of buying metals. Stacking, hoarding, you hit the reset button unless money is magically tied. Excuse me, is magically tied to the rest of the universe. You can fix it. Nobody can fix the books. That is precisely my question. Like, I know we see everyone saying there's going to be a reset, there's going to be a reset. How do you implement a reset based on the current economic climate? We've been using cash now for over a century now. So how do you reset that? That's what I'd like to know, because I don't think anybody has the right answer for that one. But, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. DB Stupid says he bought gold in the late 80s and through the 90s. No way to know how much he has. Okay, so he's been a long-term investor, this guy here. And he's been around for a while. Right. Yeah, so he's been a long-term investor in regards to that. He's obviously bought at some great prices too. My guess is he's probably has over 100 ounces, but it may take the rest of his life to build the relationship to buy it. My guess that he will start selling a couple ounces a month and never tell me. Nosematic says reset it with the pandemic and crash the economy. But again, how do you what do you just write that money off? Because I think that is probably the best thing to do, is to actually just write debt off. Could that be a way to reset it? Just say we clear this. But the thing is, a lot of people are owed money, so it's difficult to just say, you know, we're gonna write everyone's money to zero and we'll start again. Anyway, let me put something else on the screen here. Silver prices to push towards $20 in 12 months. So obviously very similar to the gold one that we had a look at. How much he holds in total? It just got quiet. Yeah. Is my audio not working, or sorry guys, I just had to step away briefly there. Hello. Yes, I'm still there. Oh dear, a doorbell. Sorry, no, that's my phone. Actually, I'll just put that on silent. Obviously, you know what it's like. You get these messages, and they pop through. There we go. That is on silence. Not that I'm even looking at my phone, other than right now, is to reset that. Yeah. So, silver price. The silver market has gone through a bit of a rough patch in the last few months, but the bottom could be in for the precious metals. Now, that was back when it dropped as low as 1167, but you could not buy at 1167 or even at $14 an ounce at that stage. Everything, premiums were just left where they were, and in some circumstances, the premiums went up. It appears the Bank of America is not bullish. It's not just bullish on gold. In a report published on Wednesday, the bank's commodity analyst said that they will see prices pushing to $20 an ounce within the next 12 months. Our supply and demand model implies that silver prices below $15 are hard to justify, the analyst said in his report. So long on silver, I think that's probably all of us here. Is anyone shorting silver at the moment? Is anyone selling at the moment? Let me know in the chat, please. World economy, will currency reset and fill the banks for new currency? Way more complicated than that, but the simple answer, put it on the gold standard. The problem with putting, as I was saying there, is if you put everything on the gold standard, you've got to have your currency tied to that. So money will not be able to free flow as easily as it currently is. And I think that is the major stumbling block at the moment, and why probably no one would go back to the gold standard. Your thoughts? Thoughts on a single world currency? And I was coming to that. Absolutely, I don't disagree with that. I think in order for humanity to progress, eventually there will have to be. But timing is everything, obviously. And we're going to discuss that shortly there. So May silver futures traded at 1540, up 0.4% on the day. The analyst said weak industrial silver demand, again, which I've just said there in regards to factories, which represents roughly half the market, is the reason why silver prices have significantly underperformed gold. So obviously on March 9th, a big sell-off down, and there just hasn't been that recovery. There probably has been good retail demand, which has pushed the price up, but we're still short from that main March 9th price. So once the factories now start opening and demand starts picking up industrial wise, then we should start to see a good price push up for silver Industrial demand has fallen off the cliff as the global economy faced its worst downturn since the 1930s. I know they've said it's as bad as the Great Depression. Currently, Bank of America economists are expecting the global economy to contract 2.8%. Weak industrial demand could end up pushing silver demand to its lowest level in 2004. However, although the growth outlook appears dismal, the analyst said that there's some hope that manufacturing will bounce back, which is interesting because I think from a retail value, resale price demand, there has never been, and they've published it in regards to gold, which means that it would still there would have to be some big demand for silver right now. So I don't think this is entirely correct. However, the growth outlook, unless it just means economy-wise, but I don't know. This sounds like he's talking growth-wise in silver. Weak industrial demand could end up pushing silver demand to its low level, whereas I think there's more retail demand now, which will help sustain the current level. But yeah, let me know. Silver price to push up towards $20 in 12 months. Still a very long time. In 12 months, a lot of things can happen in 12 months. Generally, whenever I see something like that, they're not really sure when prices are going to push up. So, why not just put 12 months? Because in 12 months' time, who's going to remember a post that was put here a year before that stated that gold was going to be $20 in 12 months? Bank of America. Jeez. Anyway, let's have a look. Nosematics bought a Valcambi Swiss silver 100 mm. Oh, yeah. I've got one of them myself. 1 gram breaker bar months ago for $100, selling for $200 now. Wow. Yeah, mine cost me, I think it was 111, which I thought was pretty high. But that's interesting. I need to check that out because I've got one there. Interesting. I'm going to hold, though. Lol, I have a problem hoarding. Might as well. Silver Stanger says, we got Davey Stupid says, I could see a world currency for international settlements and each country having a domestic currency. Dollar is the only real loser. However, I think COVID-19 has proven that dollar demand is still there. Everyone rushed to fiat on March 9th when they sold literally a large amount of stock, commodities, bonds, etc., to convert into having fiat, to having cash, which was, for me, I thought that was really shocking because particularly even from a sell-off on precious metals, like it should have been the other way. DB Stupid says world currency would have to bid for in some fashion. It wouldn't need to be backed by gold. It would just need to be trusted. Blockchain proof would solve that. Well, interesting enough, you're talking about trust, and the currency would have to be trusted. When Abraham Lincoln, for instance, obviously during the American Civil War, he needed to go. He was looking at the banks to borrow money to obviously continue the war effort against the South, and obviously the bankers and that wanted to charge obviously an absolute fortune on interest, and in the end all they did was release fiat. It was a government-backed legal currency. Obviously that could be exchanged for obviously goods or debt, and it was a valid and all they needed was support and trust. That currency, which had zero interest, there was no interest on it, was matched to the banks, obviously the Reserve Bank's private money as well, and eventually they withdrew that. If you guys know, the privatized Reserve Bank of America and that, they absolutely hated the greenback because they weren't making any money on it. But obviously the government, they released it. The trust was there. They just needed the populace to accept it, which they did, and it proved extremely successful. Solid ideas, DB. This much I know for sure. Gold is gold. It will still be gold on the other side. Changes in the air. Each state could have gold backs like Utah. The Utah gold back, everybody. I want you to have a look at this. This was Al Jazeera. This was published on the 28th of March. It says, pandemic proves there is only one world reserve currency. And obviously, I don't know if that gives it away, but there it is. Rich nations have spent more than $9 trillion so far on tackling the economic fallout from COVID-19, and more spending is on the way as governments try to ensure there is a functioning economy post the pandemic. The damage done is likely to surpass the financial crisis and maybe even the Great Depression. It is the worst economic crisis in the last 70 years. Now, investors are rushing to safety. The 11-year bull run for the US market is over, and there is one safe haven everyone is banking on, and it's not gold. It is the dollar. For all the talk that the dollar would lose its reserve currency status, it proved to be just that, talk. Emerging markets have borne the brunt of the rush for dollars. Indonesia, rupiah lost almost 40%. I know obviously with the dollar strength at that particular time, a lot of the world currencies took a bit of a knock. The Russian ruble and Mexico peso lost a fifth of their value. The problem for emerging markets is that they want to cut rates to stimulate economies hit by the coronavirus, and that could undermine their currencies further. The interest payments on dollar-denominated debts have just soared, unbalancing finances. Sterling fell more than 10% last seen in 1985. The United Kingdom's divorce from the European Union has broken the resilience of the pound, which was considered to be tethered to the fortunes of the continent. The best performing currency just happens to be the Argentine peso. Best performing in the sense that it has fallen the least compared to other Latin nations. The fact that they're introducing capital controls, limits to the money flowing out of the country to tackle an economic crisis has certainly helped. Dollar has been the world's leading currency for more than a century. Today, more than 60% of all foreign banks' reserves and 40% of all debt is held in US dollars. There you go, everybody. 60% of all foreign bank reserves and 40% of all debt is held in US dollars. Make for some interesting reading. Scrapping, holding, tinkering, fun. I fully agree. That would be a great start, says Nosmatics. I go back. There's no further comments there. Jamil Ahmad, global head of the currency strategy and market research at FXTM, tells Al Jazeera the dollar not only remains the king. If this was a Game of Thrones, the dollar is on the dying throne. It has been on the dying throne for an extremely long time. It dominates all of the 7 kingdoms under it, and it has been something that has been in play for close to a century now, since war times. He has that there are still 20, 30 years away from anybody being able to say that they could challenge the dollar. What went wrong? India's banks, Yes Bank. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail. How will the pandemic reshape the travel industry? But yeah, 60% of all foreign bank reserves are held in US dollars, and 40% of all debt is held in US dollars. Interesting stuff. Jimmy Johnny, how you doing there? Says how do. Good to see you. I don't think dollar is going to be king much longer. The rest of the world will want a piece of that crown. Well, for me, when we saw the oil price plummets and everyone says the petrodollar, I just thought that's going to be, I'm sure that's going to hit the US dollar, because that is technically what it's linked to is oil. And what have we seen? What have we seen indeed? Let's have a quick look. I just want to see the price. US dollar is still holding pretty strong. US dollar currency index is 99.1. Gold to silver ratio 110. Agreed, TV stupid. And then we've got Gold Digger Dave, who says they are QE all fiat currencies out of. They're quantitative ease all fiat currencies out of assistance. I can see and no longer fiat the Anglo dollar. That would be interesting. Right now, we are printing big checks in the West. China is handing out discount coupons for food. Gold Digger Dave says existence. Oh, we got a few more minutes left of the live stream. The dollar system is just too big, and loans are in dollars around the world. It can't be cast aside that easy. The rest of the world wants a piece of the action. Yep, I don't disagree with you there, DB. Very, very good comment. The dollar system is just too big, and loans are in dollars around the world. It can't be cast aside that easy. The rest of the world wants a piece of the action. I know there's on about introducing a US digital currency. And obviously, where did I? There was a great article there about dirty money or something like that. I think it was. I'll see if I can bring that up, and we're going to take a look at it. Here we go. Yep, there we go. This was by Forbes. How dirty money is giving rise to digital money. Now, that is for something that we'll discuss at a later date. But amid widespread impact of coronavirus, the role of physical cash has come under scrutiny. It's no secret that cash is dirty, and research shows that the virus can remain on contaminated plastic and stainless steel surfaces for up to 3 days. Nevertheless, no one is taking any chances. US has increased the holding period for bills coming from Asia from a 5-day to a 10-day minimum as a precautionary measure. Last month, Bank in China began disinfecting and isolating used banknotes. But that's something we'll discuss on another episode. With China and Russia, India buying so much gold, things will get very interesting. Yeah, the China, for those that don't know, China, Russia want to be less dependent on US dollars, and have since been buying gold, and likewise India's followed. Crypto Elf says ACH are meant to be broken. Silver has been in the clear accumulation. It will break 50 this decade. Well, interesting. Talking about Crypto Elf there, I see the crypto markets have dropped drastically by the looks of it. For those that haven't followed digital currencies, but I see a bad moon rising by the looks of things, but we'll have to see how that plays out. Bigfoot, Silver, Hide and Seeker. Man, good to see you. Hope things are well on your side. What happens when any or all of those countries say they now have more gold than the US? I guess they'll probably introduce some form of gold-backed currency. Could be. Nosematics. That will happen any day now. There we go, Nosematics. So there we go. Bigfoot, he says, hang on, buckle up tight. I heard there will be some precious metals shake up this week. I have dreams every night. That would be awesome, man. Hey, I will be going to a battlefield archaeology degree after my high school graduation. That's archaeology by key 007. Sounds great. And it looks like he's got a denarius as his thumbnail. Right, guys, that brings the stream to an end. But before we end, I want you to vote in the chat, please. $2,000 gold and $20 silver. When do you think that is going to happen? Roughly, do you reckon it'll be in, just as an interesting way to put it, do you reckon it'll be in 3 months, 6 months? Do you reckon it'll be in a week? Do you think that we will breach that $2,000 level soon? Let me know in the chat before we head out. It certainly would be great to get your opinion on that one. But we'll wait for that. But for me, $2,000 gold, I think it's coming end of the year, possibly. I mean, I'd love for it to be for it to be this year. Just depends on a bunch of factors, really. But let's have a look. There we go. DB says before election November 2020. I think the chances of going up $300 didn't sound like a lot personally, but it'd be great to see that in the 2000 territory. Nosmatic says January 2021. Jimmy Johnny says 6 months. I'm going to say, based on the recovery that we've had here, more so over than silver. Yeah, I think 6 months is it's a good time. I have no proof, just my opinion. That's Nosmatics. I hope 2000 comes slow and steady. I'm getting too old for too much excitement. Archaeology, Mikey 007. The coin picture is a Caesar Hadrian silver Roman coin from 117 AD to 138 AD. My oldest coin in my collection. Lovely. Very nice indeed, Archaeology, Mikey. I'll put there 6 months, I reckon. Lol, Bigfoot, how old are you? Slow and steady. Depends on if you're still trying to buy. But there we have it. Friday's close for gold, 1700. If there's any more votes coming through, let me know there. It looks roughly, pretty much, I think everyone's opinion is roughly about the same as saying about 6 months. Before the end of the year, we should be there. As you all know, it depends what happens in the market. It influences the price of gold and silver. So be interesting to see. I'm not sure what that square is, Bigfoot. I sense Limey sounds about 39. That's it for the live stream. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, I think is probably the one. I think we can all come to agreement that $2,000 gold is more in the near term, and I think the majority of us here pretty much say it's pretty much going to happen anytime in the next 6 months. So it'll be interesting to see how things happen. Again, thank you very much for listening. Really appreciate you guys here. We've had I think we've had double figures, which is great. Nosmatics, thank you for your time. Great stream. Bye everyone. And that's Silver Stanger. Bye everybody. No problem. Thanks, Silver Stanger. We'll do some shout outs now. We got Nosmatics, Silver Stanger, Archaeology Mikey 007. Obviously my channel there, Silver Limey 79, Bigfoot, Silver Hide and Seeker. Jimmy Johnny, Crypto Elf, DB Stupid, Gold Digger Dave, Scrapping Hoarding, Tinkering Fun, and one more there. AU Current. Guys, thank you all very much. We'll see. We might be making this a regular Sunday chat thing. We'll be changing the topics. So again, thanks very much, and I look forward to the next one. Guys, have a great weekend. Stay safe and enjoy the time. In case there are those that aren't at work due to the current COVID-19 situation. So enjoy your time off with your family, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.